I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Welcome to the Broken Skull Sessions. My guest today is the Scottish Warrior, WWE champ, Drew McIntyre. Drew, how are you?
Fabulous. Excited to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
God dang, it has been a while since we crossed paths, and I can't remember when the last time we saw each other.
Trying to figure it out today when I was flying over here, and I think the last time we spoke was in LA years ago, and I came over, you were in mid-conversation, just introduced myself, hello sir, and then I left. And that was the extent of the conversation. So this is our first proper conversation live on camera for everyone to watch.
Man, I'm looking forward to talking to you because I've been following your career for quite some time. And God dang, you've had one of the most interesting runs. You've been in business as we speak right here, give or take about 19 years.
Yep. Started at 15. I had my first match at 16. I'm 35 now. So 20 years, 19 years professionally.
So as we speak, congratulations on being WWE champion once again.
Thank you. Pretty cool.
How's that this time around, or has your perspective changed any?
I feel exactly the same as I did the first time. So I guess it's like the first time every time. And the difference was, obviously at WrestleMania, there was nobody there. It was in the Performance Center, pretty quiet. Still meant the world to me. A lot different environment. And this time we had the Thunderdome, where we were able to have the fans there virtually. We're in an arena, we had the special entrance. I'd brought the kilt out, the sword with the fire for the first time. And the biggest thing of all, like in the Thunderdome in the background, my wife was actually there. She could see it live. She had her cat Chaz held up during it, and I saw them both there during the match. So that made the second one, a little more special as well. But they were both equally special to me. It's my lifelong dream to be champion, and I appreciate it every day.
You brought the championship belt with you, right?
Of course. It's right here. It's always by my side. If I had my way, I'd be just wearing it around my waist all the time.
That's a great shot. That's a great shot right there. As we sit there and look at this belt, I just love the weight of these things. I love the way they feel. What do you think when you have the belt? What does having the championship belt mean to you? Because I got a chance to talk to The Undertaker about this, and he was a 7-time champion. But when you thought Undertaker, you thought Undertaker, this guy who had this 30-year career, but you didn't think of him as the world champion. This belt validates you, but you validate this belt as well. Your thoughts on being the world champion?
For me personally, this is my lifelong dream. I've always wanted to be in WWE. I've always wanted to be a wrestler. Always wanted to be WWE champion. And from the start of my career, it's interesting. Everybody always thought, he's going to do big things, including Vince McMahon himself told the world when I was 23, this guy's going to be the future world champion. It's inevitable. And maybe when you're that age, you start believing it. And then throughout my journey, obviously, I had some highs, and then I had some serious lows where it was almost laughable that I'd ever be champion. And the fact that I went through the journey I went through to finally pull it off, to finally be the guy and be trusted by the company and accepted by the fans as not the company's chosen one, but the fans' chosen one. Lifting that title meant so much to me to finally, have it, live my dream, but do it in such a unique way. And it's hard to put into words. I look at it right now and it's so surreal. This is the title. No matter what anyone says, this is the #1 title in wrestling. Been around since 1963, Buddy Rogers, unified with the WCW title. 2001, held by yourself, Brett, Shawn, Hogan, Angle, the WCW lot, Flair. It's pretty cool to be in that lineage.
One of the things I like about you, you're a historian of the business, a lifelong fan. And the thing about the belt, it's a work, but it's a shoot, right?
Yes, 100%. You get that title and you basically get told, you're the guy. You're the one we're trusting right now to pull the wagon. And pull the wagon during the most unique time in WWE history, during a friggin' pandemic. And that's a lot of trust. And if I was given that opportunity to be champion when I was younger, I might not have been able to handle it. But because of all the lessons I've learned from all those downfalls, I feel like I was the only guy that could be leading the company during such a unique situation. And I took the ball and said, cool, we'll figure out new ways to do things. I don't care. We'll innovate and we adapt.
The belt means a lot to me as well. Let's set this thing over here.
All right, I got it
right there.
Question for you. I would wear it around my waist all the time if I get away with it. I'd wear it to the store. My wife gets jealous and kicks it out of the bed all the time.
Question. I was talking with The Undertaker a while back. A lot of times when people get their first belt, the guys will rib them, tell them they need to wear it through an airport. Have you ever worn your belt through an airport, whether it was here or along your journey? Because you've been around for 19 years.
Yeah, I have. Not the WWE Championship, not in the airport, but when I won the IC title, it was the same night Sheamus won the WWE title in 2009. And I remember Randy was sitting there with, Randy's a little bit different now than he used to be back then. He was like, hey guys, you have to wear the title tonight when you come out to the Applebee's for dinner. And then he thought about it, went, actually, maybe not the WWE title with Sheamus, but Drew, you have to wear the IC titles. I have to wear it to the Applebee's and sit there with it. He was like, yeah. I was like, oh no, okay. So I'm walking in with the title on, like, oh, I'm so upset. I'm the Intercontinental Champion of the world, and I'm wearing it in public, and I'm hanging out.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I was loving it. I was a kid. I was like legit 23, 24 years old, walking around bragging. I was like, hey, look at me, single at the time. I'm the champ, brother. So it was a pretty cool moment for me. I was not embarrassed whatsoever.
What kind of reaction did you get from the people at Applebee's?
Oh, they were loving it. Pictures left and right. I was loving it. It was a heck of a night. I appreciate that. So thank you, Randy.
It's good to hear somebody bought into the bullshit that someone was feeding them.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get to Randy Orton later because he's been really instrumental in your career.
Yeah.
I think. One of the things in kind of researching you and getting to know, I've followed your career for a long time, but you do a thing, Drew and A.
Yes.
Just to get a little bit of personal information about you. How did that come about? Because, I don't know a whole lot about you personally, and this is kind of one of your endeavors. Explain the Drew and A to me and everyone else and why you do it.
Yeah, the company came to me and said, we've got a lot of downtime, and would you like, this opportunity to kind of explore some of your interests and maybe start chatting to some people? And they gave me the opportunity to kind of pick some of the individuals I would speak to. And I said, okay, well, if we're going to do it right, let's do my genuine interests. I'm a kind of weird cat. I'm a little bit out there, and I think a lot of our fans are too, and they get to learn a little bit more a little bit more about me, make me a little more relatable. And then that's when I started suggesting things like, let's talk about some ghost experts. And there's some obvious topics like the bodybuilders. And then I'm interested in sharks. We spoke to some shark experts and learned a lot about how essential sharks are to us. And if they cease to exist, we'd essentially cease to exist. Didn't know that. And the more I plod along with Drew and A, the more I learn, hopefully the fans learn about the topics we're talking about, but at the same time, relate more to Drew McIntyre. Because at one point, I was a 6'5", hairy, angry Scotsman. And the only person that related to that guy was the one guy in Scotland, same as me, going, I get this guy. He's angry all the time. He's giant like me. Now, the more they learn about Drew, the person, the more they go, he's just like me. He's just larger than life.
So how often are you doing these things?
As often as they'll let me. I mean, I harass them all the time. I want to do more and more. I believe my conversation with Matthew McConaughey should be available right now, actually, by the time this comes out.
Indeed. Were you ever a fan of wrestling growing up? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah. No, so I grew up in East Texas. I was, it was the Von Erichs, the Claw. It was my guy was Hackshaw Jim Duggan. He'd come to the ring with the 2x4.
Were the Freebirds feuding with the Von Erichs during that time, by any chance?
Yeah. And it was King Kong Bundy, Skandar Akbar was the manager. There's a Hirsch Coliseum in Shreveport, Louisiana is where we'd travel to go see the matches. I got kicked out of Hirsch Coliseum for pelting Skandar Akbar with rotten tomatoes. I snuck in with a bag of rotten tomatoes and just slathered him. And they thought that had gone too far. I got kicked out, snuck back through the bathroom window, and then later in the night, got down front, and I remember.
Goodness, I want to see where this is going.
King Kong Bundy.
That and King Kong Bundy.
Not on King Kong. He was not happy either.
Oh my goodness, that's great. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment to a bad guy wrestler. If somebody is willing to sneak in rotten tomatoes, then sneak back in the window and spit on you, you should be taking that as a compliment. He did his job well.
I had a great conversation with him. He's such an easygoing guy, and I asked him his opinions on certain topics like social media and how it affects people's mental health, etc. And he gave his opinions, and I learned a lot, talking back and forth with him. And hopefully people check it out and they go, Matthew McConaughey, big movie star, lots of money, nothing in common with him. And by the end of it, they're like, my goodness, I have a lot in common with him. I've learned a lot through this conversation, through the Drew and A, and that's what it's all about. As I learn, hopefully the people learn with me.
I think we have a picture of you from back in the day because you've been a lifelong wrestling fan.
Oh, I have.
Tall guy. You were already tall.
That guy beside me is like my age, and that's my brother to the right. And he's considered very tall at our age. That's how much taller I was than the tall guys.
Boy, you got a smile on your face. You look forward to meeting Yokozuna.
Oh, yeah. That was a great day. I still remember being in line outside, like me and that was our crew. I went to the wrestling shows, my buddy Blair there, my brother John. We would always be front in line. It was first come, first served. And I remember someone passing by saying, he needs 50 eggs. And I went, oh my goodness, that's Yokozuna. He needs 50 eggs right now. That's crazy. Who eats 50 eggs? And I remember watching him live come out. He's the biggest man I've ever seen in my life. And I also remember consciously thinking at like 13 or whatever I am at that point, Well, he's not phoning it in. I remember him putting in a shift that night when he didn't have to. A little show in Air Scotland, like nobody there. He came from WWE, wrestled main events, WWE champion. And I'm like, wow, he's putting in a shift right now. And things like that kind of stuck in my head as I got older. Like
Yeah.
people that genuinely love the business, have a passion for the business, no matter where they are, they always give it their all, or what they can physically at the time.
Here's a real good picture. Interesting. I guess that's a magazine cover. There you are. One more picture. Man, dude, I was doing the research on you. Been following your career. You're kicking ass. You're on top of the world. You've had an unbelievable journey. But when I saw you with the Stone Cold sheet set, I was like, man, this guy is a true fan of the business. And this affected me because it's like, this is back in my day when I was competing, as you are now. So for someone to actually go out and buy your stuff and then sleep on it, pretty effing cool. So the fact that I could entertain you enough that you would go buy my sheet set, it's very flattering. And so it's pretty cool to see the journey that you've been on. And it's always nice to see anybody succeed, but guys that truly love the business and then study the business and then become successful in the business, it's nice to see that stuff. So I appreciate the fact that I was able to make it enough of an impression on a cat from Air Scotland, go buy my sheet set. So props to that. When did you learn of professional wrestling?
I'm trying to think of my earliest memory. I just like saying all that just sparked a memory in my head just during that period of how popular you were across the world. Like the first place I ever watched wrestling was my aunts and uncles with my older cousins. And I remember, my goodness, we must have been like 4 or 5, whatever. It almost felt forbidden to watch. They'd be watching it on the TV, on the couch, on the sofa. And my brother and I would hide and watch it in the background. And I was just so enamored by these larger than life characters. And I was like, man, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. And of course, my brother, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. And all our friends, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. Or I'm going to play football, be an astronaut. And as the years passed by, I never deviated from that. It was, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. Okay, Drew, that's fine. You'll find a real job eventually. And I never changed my mind. I just fell in love with it the moment I saw it.
And you jumped in early because you were playing sports growing up. But then at about 15, you said, hey, man, I guess you talked to your parents and you decided you're going to go to wrestling school. But where you're at in Scotland, wrestling school ain't so easy to come by.
No, the wrestling scene had been dead in the UK for years. It wasn't until I was 15 I discovered one of the 2 schools in the whole of the UK in the exact same area, which was about as far as you can go in England. Like Cliffs of Dover, jumping off the end of England is how far they were from Scotland, 12 hours away from Air Scotland. Had to convince my mother to let me go, so she spoke to the trainer on the phone, felt comfortable with it. My friend Craig and I took the train from Air Scotland, 12 hours down to training. We spent the first time 9 days personal training there, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it'd be at first. I remember getting in there like, I'm going to be the man. I'm going to go in there and going to go, oh my God, this guy's the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then suddenly when you start trying to do some chain wrestling, I'm like, oh, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be, but I was never going to give up.
I wasn't a quick learner myself, especially with the chain stuff. And after I got dropped on my head, I would turn into a brawler. Looking back, I mean, dude, what is that? I mean, that looks smaller than a 16-foot ring. That looks like a boxing ring or a 12-footer.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen a ring that small in years. So after you went to the school, I mean, when did you guys start putting on matches, start booking shows or promoting shows or just getting involved on a wrestling card?
Yeah, really
After
quick.
how much experience?
I'd been wrestling training for about 8-9 months when I had my first match. Not long after that, we started the shows in Scotland. We had an adult who had connections who could get us the ring, who would like set up the venue. 16-year-olds aren't setting up wrestling venues, and he had the connections to pull off the show. We brought in some American stars from WWE, like Barbarian, Marty Jannetty, Honky Tonk Man, kind of the guys who are still traveling the circuit at that point. I would always be put with them. That was always the deal. Whoever comes in, the outside talent, Drew works with them, and that's the only time I was really learning.
Was that because you were the biggest guy there?
Yeah, I was always kind of positioned as the top guy, and I wasn't booking the show, but they were always like, okay, Drew's our guy, and that was always the mentality. We need to get him as good as possible, and then I can keep teaching everyone else at the same time. So if we brought an outside talent, I was with them every time. I'd always learn, something from everybody and then pass it on to everybody there, and we're just working together to get as good as we could.
When those guys would come through, how much of a chance did you get to pick their brain, ask them questions?
There was one in particular, Jake Roberts was there. He had this particular training session when I was 16. There was about 30 of us there. And he walked around, kind of pointed at me at one point and said, this guy might make it. And that was the crazy impression that left on me. Just he walked around, pointed at me and said, this guy might make it, and just carried on walking. But I stood there like, oh my God, Jake the Snake Roberts said in my head, I'm going to make it. So that kind of motivated me to keep pushing forward, because no one from Scotland had ever been signed to WWE, like directly from Scotland. And everyone told me I was crazy. Like, good for you, Drew, do it as a hobby, but start focusing the future. Think of a career. My deal with my mum and dad is you got to stick in school, get that education. I agreed, I did. I stayed right through university, got my degree in criminology. But I was making it happen one way or another. I had tunnel vision. I was going to be the first guy. No one's going to tell me otherwise.
As you're making your travels down there and working, booking the shows, you come across Sheamus,
Yeah.
who was Sheamus O'Shaughnessy back in the day, right?
Yep.
So did you guys click right off the get-go, or how was that?
Yeah, we did. The first time I met him, I came to Ireland. There was one television show in the whole of Europe. It was called Irish Whip Wrestling. It was on the Wrestling Channel. And finally I got booked for it. I was, okay, this is the one show, I got to get on this. They put Sheamus and I together. We had a match. It was fine for the time. I'll never watch it back because I assume it was terrible. We got talking, realized we had similar goals, ambitions, not just saying, I want to go to WWE. No, we're going to go to WWE. We're going to make it happen. We're big Bret Hart fans. We sat there watching a bunch of Bret's matches, kind of dissecting it and giving each other our opinions. And we both started putting together a plan of how we're going to do this. He was a lot bigger than me at the time. I was kind of big, skinny, awkward kid. And his dad was a bodybuilder, and he kind of started to educate me how to work out properly. I observed how he ate every 2 hours, and I was like, well, why do you eat all the time? I was like, that's how you get bigger, Drew. So he's teaching me about diet, and so the whole time we're trying to help each other, you know, improve. Like in the ring, he'd have ways to go, so I'd help him improve in the ring, etc., and he would help me improve body and diet. And eventually he was starting to come to the UK. We'd wrestle in England, Scotland, and Ireland on the TV show there. Just always videoing our matches, breaking it down afterwards, trying to do what the best we could. We didn't have anyone really helping us unless we had a Robbie Brookside there that day or somebody who could really educate us. And we did that right up until the day we got signed and came to America. Then we really started learning.
Tell me about your foot in the door to WWE.
Sheamus again. He had the connections, and he explained to me, this is the person you need to contact. You got to send in your picture, your details, lie about your weight, lie about your height a little bit, add a couple inches, a couple of pounds here and there.
Dude, when you're 6'5", you ain't got to lie a whole lot. You know,
So
because
I think at the time I
like
was about 235. So
Yeah.
I was 6'5", 235. So I think I was 6'5", but 255 in the initial email. Sent my pictures over and whatever. Got an email back. Make sure you come down to the Manchester tryout. I'm like, ooh, exciting. I'm going to go to WWE tryout. This is it. I start training extra hard. Sheamus and I are putting together like little matches in case we get called on to get in the ring together. We're going to be ready for this. We're motivating each other, just pushing each other. Like, this is it. We're going to kill it. We're going to get signed. We show up to Manchester that day. Guys, get down, warm up by the ring. We're warming up by the ring. You two get in. Me and Sheamus, what are the odds? We get in that ring. We're rolling around. I remember looking outside the ring. I've told Taker this story, and I see Taker talking to someone, just laughing hysterically. I'm like, oh my God, The Undertaker thinks I'm the worst wrestler in the world. Years later, I come to find that when I'm outside the ring talking to someone laughing, you're talking about anything else but what's going on in the ring, unless it's something you should be watching because it's so ridiculous. But we're in the ring, we do our thing, I get out the ring, and then one of the agents come up to me, I believe it was Steve Kerr, and said, that was a great job, kid. If John Laurinaitis was here today, you'd be signed, but he's not. And walks off. I went, oh, so what happens now? We come back in 6 months. So I was like, oh, well, at least I get some positive comments. And then afterwards, funny side story. I go all over the place with these stories. I apologize. Afterwards, we're a bit upset that Johnny wasn't there to sign anybody. We go ourselves to a nightclub. We're gonna have a little night out. Celebrate. Like, at least we got told to come back in 6 months. You're gonna have a good shot. Sheamus had an agent at the time. He told the bouncer, "We've got some WWE superstars here. You got to look after them." So we get ourselves a VIP box. We're up top. We're having the time of our lives. Suddenly, I got a tap on the shoulder. And I turn around, there's Bobby Lashley and the Biggie Man. He's, hey, superstars. So he's heard there's a couple of guys upstairs in WWE. They come up to see us, and thank goodness it was Bobby and Biggie Man, like nicest guys ever. They ended up hanging out with us. They didn't stooge us off. Started giving us some advice. I still give Bobby crap this day. Like, I was like, remember you were standing there, you were drunk as hell, sweating your ass off. Like, I see you like a Randy Orton. Started giving me all this advice, but I was like, and he laughs and gets embarrassed now when I tell him. I was like, no, I appreciate that. I was like, man, you got really into it. You were so nice to us. You showed us, man, these guys are really cool, and they're willing to take the time for a couple of guys who lied their way into a club, said they were with WWE. And sure enough, 6 months later, we came back in better shape, bit more of an idea what's going on, got in the ring, rolled around, slowed down a bit, tried not to do anything too over the top. They just want to see mechanically you're good and you look the part, etc. Johnny told me, take a walk with me, kid. So I take a walk with Johnny, we head to catering.
Everybody always has to do the Johnny Laurinaitis voice. Go ahead.
Yep, can't help myself. Well, I'm thinking about signing you. And I remember, like, 21 years old, looking him in the eye and saying, I'm thinking about letting you. This is the dream.
You son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. Been coming up 6 years now.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to let you.
Yeah.
You talked me into it.
Yep, full of confidence in my head.
Please,
In my head, I'm
yeah.
screaming and be like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" I was like, "Keep the confidence, so I can don't show any weakness."
You son of a
Stuck my hand
gun.
out, shook his hand, just walked off. Went,
That's great. I think I'm going to let you.
yep, looked him right in the eye. I'll never forget it. I think I'm gonna let
fucking
you.
begging you to sign me.
Yep, and then I saw that contract with a minimal number, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna work my ass off, and I'm gonna make that number go a lot higher than it is on the paper.
So obviously, there's a little bit of money there. You're into a new situation. You go into OVW, right?
Yeah. And sure enough, I go to the school that week, and the writers are there. And I'm like, oh, this is normal. I assume this happens all the time. The writers come to check out the new talent, but I'm not going to be looked at today. I'm the brand new kid. So I sit in the corner. Finally, they just need a body to get in there to take a look at one of the heels there. So like, Drew, jump in the ring, just roll around with this guy. Just they need to show him off a little bit to the writers here. I'm like, okay. So I roll around a little bit with the guy, do a little comeback. Hey, kid, can you cut a promo for us? I cut a promo for them. I think I talked about my kilt and some sexual innuendo. That definitely would have been, it was something like that. I wouldn't do it right now. I'm sure my wife would hate it, but I definitely compared my kilt to something else. Made it sound like I was talking about something else, but of course I'm talking about my kilt. Nonetheless, I did my little promo, popped them, never thought anything of it. And a week later, Al Snow told me, I've got a phone call. Howard Finkel wants to talk to you. Sure enough, I hear the familiar voice. Like, I'm still thinking I've been ribbed, but it sounds like Howard. Like, Drew, this is Howard Finkel with the World Wrestling Entertainment. We're bringing you on the road. This is your details. We're going to send them to you. You're coming on to SmackDown next week. Oh, no. Okay, that's normal. Give it back to Al. I'm assuming this is perfectly normal. Everybody comes here in their first week and gets told they're going to be on TV. No, Drew, this is not normal. This never happens. You need more time here. I'm like, oh. Okay, well, I don't have any time here, so what can you tell me? So he gives me a quick crash course, things I need to learn.
He knew you needed more seasoning.
Oh my God, yeah, he was like, this is a mistake. Like, you should not.
But you've been working 6 years.
Yeah, but like back home, there was no, like, I say we're on a TV show there, we didn't know what we were doing. We'd turn our backs to hard camera. It's
Yeah,
like,
my point is.
doing this podcast like this the whole time. We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah,
like,
my point being, there's so much going on, and the pressure's on being on the big stage with WWE.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
So you go out there and.
Not so much crap the bed, but I learned quickly.
Not a bad first match.
Yeah, like learned pretty quickly. There was a lot I had to learn. Like you mentioned earlier, the hard camera, I had to hold. It was me and Dave Taylor. I had to hold on in the middle of the match, and sure enough, the referee said, work the hard camera, and I asked the referee, what is a hard camera? And that was live on SmackDown.
When I went from WCW into WWE as a ringmaster, and then when I turned to Stone Cold, I never once worked for a hard camera. Because it wasn't a thing back in the day. It was when you got there. Now, there was a hard camera, but I just figured my thought was, KD's in the truck. He's the master. All these badass camera guys, which I became very good friends with, if I'm doing anything, they're going to catch it. So I never played to a hard camera.
That's interesting.
Word on the street. So you get there, you come down with Dave Taylor, hell of a hand, great friends with Regal, our buddy. But when you just look at the kid, I'm seeing the kid, good-looking guy. He's tall, working on a good physique, but I don't see the confidence yet. And I see a guy who's trying and he's searching, but he's wondering, but it's because right now he doesn't have the base. Am I right?
Oh, you're 100% right.
It's almost like walking out there naked. I mean, it's just like, God dang, I hope they like me. I hope they like me. And here's what I am. And they're just examining you. It's like, and then the bell rings and you do what you do. From here, you would go to FCW.
Yes.
And so how was that? What did they teach you there?
I was, thank goodness I've been asking. I was like, please, like I need to go back to come forward. Like I know I've got a lot of things to learn, and it's just too much to do it under the microscope. Like I know I need to go there, and it was going from like black and white to color as far as I was concerned. Like going to Florida aside, just the difference of Louisville and going to Tampa and the sunshine and the palm trees, and I was like, this is how it's supposed to be. And then we started training with Dr. Tom and Steve Kern, Billy Kidman, and Norman Smiley at the time. I was like, okay, this is exactly where I need to be, and working with Dr. Tom was the absolute man.
Dude, I was living at the Congress Inn, about 6 doors down from Dr. Tom. And we were riding, I was riding with Dutch Mantel and Chris Champion. Well, something happened. Tom and I were forced to start riding together. And we started riding together. On that first ride, it was complete silence because, I was on the card in the territory. I was the new guy. He was the veteran, but he didn't know me and he wasn't going to drop knowledge yet. Well, over a couple car rides, as it is, he started dropping knowledge on me. So he was one of my favorite mentors and a guy that gave me a lot of insight into psychology, character, everything. So I credit Dr. Tom with a lot of my success in the business as well. September 25th, 2009, Vince introduces you. Let's go to this clip.
I'd like to introduce you to now a gentleman that I personally signed here on SmackDown. He reminds me a lot of, he reminds me a lot of me, quite frankly. High intellect, a man who is extraordinarily aggressive, handsome son of a gun as well. He doesn't say what because he's not a hillbilly. But all of you are.
Vince is shredding
Exactly.
these people.
This man, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a future world heavyweight champion. This man's attitude can be summed up with the phrase, he is simply badass. I would imagine he doesn't appreciate Oklahoma any more than I do.
Killing them.
With that in mind, allow me to introduce you from Scotland. Here is Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre personally signed by Mr. McMahon, JR.
I am very impressed with Drew McIntyre.
Good-looking kid, well-dressed, trying to be confident. I think you're going to be more confident in a little bit, but a great presentation.
Unexpected presentation.
Yeah, and we'll get to that because I want your backstory. What a spot to be put in. What did you think? Because I mean, like on one hand, hey, that's cool to hear this information. Future world champion coming from the man himself, Vince. Wow. But by the same token as well, putting a hell of a lot of pressure on you and in effect, putting a target on your back for everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, am I summing that up correctly?
Yeah, yeah. You know, as weird as it is to say, it wasn't as abnormal as it should be. You know, when I saw that promo, like when I started my career, as we talked about, I was always on top. In the UK, we're starting the scene, I was always main event, I was always the guy. I came to America, Drew, you're on the road. Is this normal? No. Well, of course, I'm the guy. This is what happens to Drew. I'm always just in the top spot. And I was always kind of educated and perhaps a bit cocky. So, of course you're going to sign me. I was saying to Johnny, I'm going to let you. You know, I've always kind of been educated to be that guy. In my mind, I was just trained, I'm always just going to be the top guy. And this is amazing. I understand this is amazing, but at the same time, this is just going to be my storyline to help me always be that guy. So I never quite felt the pressure probably the way I should have.
All right, you're the chosen one. You're on the WWE train. But I have a piece of footage for you, and maybe you can give me some context as to what this is about.
As a man, we need a big finish fit. So I'm trying to think of something on the fly here. Fit Finley's going to give you something to remember. Something you might regret, but you'll never forget because you need a big finish. So here's something you'll never forget.
Made the man flinch. What was that all about?
I can't believe that footage exists. And there's the
You
moment.
got him.
There's the moment my push died. The true story. Joking. I think that was promo class, I believe. Yeah, back in the day, Vince used to take a promo class with a select group of younger talent on Raw and SmackDown, and I was fortunate to be part of the group on SmackDown. He would give us his lessons, you know, give a free one out there right now. You know, a promo's a match is a promo. You've got to think of them the same way, and that's all I'm going to say, because what happened in there stays in there. Nonetheless, at the end of every class, he would give us a minute to cut a promo on a random topic he would pick, and we had to apply the lessons we learned in promo class. So you always need, of course, a big finish. And I think I was struggling for a big finish, and I reached out for that water bottle, and I decided to pretend to throw it at the boss. And he flinched, and he never flinches.
Hey, man, that takes some balls, though, man. You know,
Oh, definitely always at balls, sometimes to my detriment.
but you know what? You know, you're the chosen one in the beginning, and you end up, you know, where you're at now, and we're going to get to where you're going to go. But, I mean, I think that shows to Vince that when he originally selected you as being the chosen one, he was on to something, but it was yet to be harvested.
Yeah.
Understood?
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting, you know, like he can see things in you that you perhaps can't see in yourself. And it takes perhaps a while for the talent to bring it out, if they ever bring it out, but he can see it in there. And it's just a case of, can he bring it out, or inevitably it's going to have to be you that brings it out. And sometimes it takes a long time to get there when he finally goes, I saw it in you. It's cool that it finally came out.
Right. How much time goes by? How long are you on the roster before kind of the spiral starts happening? Because you're the chosen one, you're in the system, you're going to be the guy one of these days, but kind of, WrestleMania 26-ish, things start going downhill.
Yeah. I remember talking to Vince around about the time of the Chosen One stuff, and he told me The Undertaker's your mentor. You only listen to The Undertaker. We're hopefully going to build up to, a match with you all down the line. I found out much later, that plan, I guess, was WrestleMania 26, which turned into Shawn and Taker, which is an amazing match, and I certainly wasn't ready for that opportunity at that time, but it was probably right after Mania things started to go kind of downhill. It started personally, and to be honest, this is about the time my mother got sick for the first time. She's back home in Scotland, got the cancer, diagnosis, and that rocked my world. It was the most important person in the world to me, and I started acting out, like drinking basically every night at that point, and when things weren't going exactly to plan at work, then professionally it started falling apart. If things weren't going exactly to plan the way I felt like they should have been, then I was acting out, and things started going downhill professionally as well as personally, and it was just a vicious spiral and just kept going and going and going. Basically every night I was out and about and taking my mind off things, and it was directly affecting my work. And like I say, my personal life was not good at the time.
So The Undertaker is your mentor. What did he teach you? What did you ask him?
I harassed him all the time. I mean, this stuff, no one knew about this stuff. This was something I kept quiet. My closest friends knew that. And the company would have sent me back home if they knew what was going on. But
You didn't even tell the company?
No, I kept it to myself.
Dude, that's...
So
Yeah, that
dealing with like it privately, just with
Yeah.
my closest friends. But Taker, I harassed him all the time. It was Undertaker, he's my mentor. So I would just ask him questions all the time. The big one that took me a while to understand, he'd look at me and say, "Stop playing the wrestler and be the wrestler." I was like, what is he talking about? I'm out there, I'm in wrestling gear, I'm wrestling around, like I'm being a wrestler. I don't understand what he means. And it took a while before the light bulb turned on and I understood what he was talking about. As I'm out there, I'm stressed, I'm thinking about the next move. You can see in my eyes, I'm not in the moment. And the crowd can see, like, this guy's just not with us right now, so we're not going to be with him. And I wasn't relaxed. It was simple as that. Just relax when you're out there, feel the moment, be in the moment. When you start feeling it, they'll start feeling it. I wasn't feeling it at all. I was so tense and stressed out there, never allowing the crowd in, just so focused on the next move, deer in the headlights in the eyes. And it took a long time for that finally clicked in, what he was trying to tell me all this time. And it's like little lessons like that at the time. I felt like he was talking in riddles. I'm like, man, he's not trying to help me. He's just talking in riddles. But he was teaching
And
me
you
these
don't
great
understand
lessons.
it because you're not at that level.
No,
But
his
when it
wrestling
comes
IQ
down
was
to
here, and I
it's
was here.
yeah, and it's seasoning,
Yeah.
right? It's seasoning. It's like you're not ready for this yet, so you can't understand it. And finally, when you're able to be ready for it, you can accept it. Oh, now I know what he means.
Yep.
Don't act like it, be it. And then, like when someone says, hey, wait for him, or let him in. It's like, don't go. You've got to stop at some point to let them in.
Yep.
But it takes a while for all that to process.
Yeah, that's one of the many lessons he taught me. It's okay to stand there and give it a second and let what you just did breathe. You don't have to rush to the next thing every 2 seconds. I'm like, again, in my head, I'm like, but moves, more is more. When he's trying to explain to me, no, less is more. And I've heard it a million times. It took so long before I finally started applying it and seeing the difference and seeing how the crowd reacted to everything. And the more I was in the moment and feeling the moment, the bigger they reacted. And the more I walked down the street and they recognized me, because I was getting all this camera time, as Vince always said, here's your money.
Yeah.
I was finally getting my face on screen at the appropriate moments, but way more screen times I was starting to get it as the years passed.
So were you supposed to be in WrestleMania 26 with The Undertaker?
That's what I heard after the fact. I wasn't told directly. It was supposed to build to a match with Taker and I, was all I was told. But I heard, basically from Shawn. Afterwards, I got to spend some time with Shawn, work with Shawn, but that was the plan. And then, obviously, Mania had the great Shawn and Taker match, the retirement match. But if I had that match at the time, it wouldn't have been what it should have been.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't have been what it should have been, but you were at WrestleMania.
I was there,
26.
yep. I was in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I was supposed to be winning, I believe. And then I was told it's too obvious. That's cool, but the way I reacted at the time, definitely didn't say that's cool. I think I probably said that's bullshit. Again, just what I was going through at the time, being a bit difficult.
So how long after that was 3MB created?
Well, this is about 2010, probably. So 3MB was around 2012, I want to say. So it was a period, oh my God. These motherfuckers.
What are your thoughts when you see that?
Laughter. My wrist is broken. Like, it was, It was dead on arrival. Like Vince had the idea for it. He was going to give Heath a group because he'd been doing a good job putting over all the legends, whatever. And he started suggesting some guys that would make sense, that had that kind of personality would fit in. And so everyone's like, maybe like a Fandango, he's got that quirky personality. Ambrose is quirky as hell. Maybe these are guys that might fit in with Heath there. And Vince is like, no, he doesn't think like everyone else. He's like, Jinder and Drew. But they're so serious, exactly. I want to see a different side of their personality, see what they've got. He wanted to bring something out of us, so he put us with Heath. They told Jinder in the backstage area, like in a hallway or something, this is the plan. He was fine with it. And from what I gather, they drew straws who was going to tell Drew and walked me to the stands way up high, just in case I kicked off and beat someone's ass, and sat me down, explained it to me, and I said, great, I just want to do something. I've been on Superstars for 2 years. I'm just looking for an opportunity. It's not what I'm looking for, but it's something. So cool, I'll make it work. But my wrist is broken. It's been broken for about 6 months, and they told me I need surgery. The bone's dead. Need a scaphoid screw. And just make sure the boss knows that. And I guess no one told him that. So we did a bunch of these vignettes in Stamford. Whatever his vision was, we did it all to the T. No one let him know. The heater's got a broken wrist. And as soon as we debuted on TV, I got surgery like the week after and couldn't touch anyone or be touched for 6 months. So this thing was dead in arrival, but it was fun as hell. I love Heath and Jinder. I got to show a different side of my personality. And what I was going through at the time, it was probably the best role if you're going to keep me in the company, because I could not have been trusted with any spot higher on the card.
But when you get in a situation like that, it's like, yeah, the guys are cool, this is fun, but you're in, as you would say, not just be one of the guys, but be the guy.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I was saying like I wasn't pissed off. And also you get people coming to you all the time just being like, Drew, you're so much more than this. Does this not drive you crazy? And I'm like, no, it's fine. It drove me freaking crazy. Like, I was like, man, if they just gave me the opportunity to do this and this and this, I would kill it. And maybe in the ring, I'd have been fine. But where I was at personally, as you know, when you're at the top level, there's so much more that goes on what's on the screen. They have to trust you, like inside and out, and your personal time especially. And I could not have been trusted at that time, at that level.
June 12th, 2014, Drew McIntyre released.
Yep.
At the time, I think you've gone on record as saying you thought you were doing a pretty good job, and 3MB was doing a pretty good job at doing what they were intended to do, be entertaining.
We were on everything. Every TV, every tour, everything you can imagine. 3MB were booked solid.
8 years in the WWE, and now you're released. How'd that hit you? Because, man, I've been on the short end of that stick.
I felt a lot of emotions. I was surprised at first because 3MB were on everything. We were booked solid, every tour, every TV. It was always...
Dude, it was entertaining.
Yeah, like we were featured and our schedule was full. We knew our role, and you need that role, and wrestling needs a bit of everything, and we were fulfilling that comedy, sidekick role. So it was first a surprise, and second, the other emotions start sweeping over. Like, my goodness, this was what I was going to do. It was always what I was going to do. I'm not there anymore, and I was supposed to be the guy, and then I've been doing this comedy shtick, and now I just got fired. You go through a lot of emotions, and the biggest one of all was, I just wasn't good enough. I let Vince down, I've let myself down, I've let my family down. And to be honest, looking in the mirror, I kind of felt like this is on me. This isn't their fault, this is my fault. I did this, and what am I going to do next? I don't know any better. All I know is this business. Like, what am I going to do? I need to put together a plan. And as upset as I was and worried about telling my wife, or girlfriend at the time who became my wife, worried about telling my dad, the dream's over. I was thinking at the same time, what's the next move? I have to put together a plan. I know what it is. I'm going to get my mission statement out there. I'm going to do it in ICW. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, you didn't message me? I was like, man, you're my friend. Maybe you were upset you got fired. I was like, yeah, I'm damn upset. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to the next show. When is it? 3 weeks. Okay, I'm going to be there. Book my flight. Don't tell anybody. I'm going to tell my dad, nobody else. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to cut a promo. I'm going to do my mission statement. And that's where it was born that day.
Did you need to fall on your ass?
100%. I had to step outside the bubble. I'd lost perspective. I forgot this was the dream. I felt almost entitled. Like, why am I not getting these opportunities? They should give them to me. I would have been happy to be the water boy at the start of my career, and now I had a woe is me attitude. By the end of it, I had to step outside the bubble and understand, oh my goodness, Drew, like, there was a lot of stuff going on in your personal life, but you didn't apply yourself. You could have kept working hard the whole time. You could have done things a little bit differently. You have to understand that was on you. You left a few stones unturned. Like, now, from this day forward, you got to give it your all, inside the ring, outside the ring. Leave no stone unturned. And by the end of the day, if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I gave it my all, if it didn't work out, cool. At least you gave it everything, because you weren't doing it when you were inside the bubble. And I had to gain that perspective. I had to fall on my ass. And it allowed me to not be under the microscope and build myself up and get confident, because I had to gain that confidence back, because I'd lost my confidence a while back.
When I got fired from WCW, man, a day or two later, Paul Heyman gives me a call, and I get a chance to go to ECW. And I didn't know at the time that was my lifesaver. I felt like, you know, when you messaged your buddy from ICW, that was your lifesaver.
Yeah.
And you would go down there and you had a mission statement planned. So as soon as you got shit canned, what did you say to yourself?
I'm going to tell the world that I'm going to become the biggest star outside of WWE, and I'm going to put ICW and independent wrestling on the map, because I could see it was on the rise. I understood it was on the uptick and it needed a face. And I was like, I'm going to be that face. I'm going to be that representative of independent wrestling. I'm going to be the first traveling world champion since Ric Flair's days. And that's my general plan. I don't know how I'm going to put it into effect, but that's day one, the stuff I had going through my head.
I got a clip from that. I want to show that right now. You know most of these guys, right?
Oh yeah, I know every single one of them.
Road Warrior pop. Everybody's super excited. Boom. Nice, nice. I love those looping right hands you throw. Super DDT. Love those.
I'm the former British champion, the former Irish champion, former WWE Tag Champ, former WWE Intercontinental Champion, and I was the first Insane Championship Wrestling Champion. And hell, I'm from Scotland. Let's talk about what's best for business.
WWE superstar.
Best for business. What makes a professional wrestler? How tall they are, how they look, their body, their in-ring work, their talking ability on the microphone, charisma. Yes, all these things make a marketable character, and that's what you need to be a real superstar. Once upon a time, before whatever happened, Vince McMahon, the most ruthless man in the world, named me the chosen one for a reason. Trust me, I'm bringing those attributes here. When used right, was best for business. When I'm used to my best of my ability, I am the fucking business. Well, he's gone. When I get this, when I get my hands on this, I can take ICW to the next level. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. Drew Galloway is an entity, and if I'm going to do that to one of my best friends, what the hell will I do to everybody else? I see people texting, hope they're videoing, I hope they're tweeting. I said you're part of a moment. This is a moment for professional wrestling, not just Scotland. This is going to go across the world, and I want you to tell everybody, tell someone in the street, tell your sister, tell them to tell their dog, to tell their cat, to tell their cousin. I don't care, put it out there. Right now, we're making a stand for professional wrestling. It doesn't have to be the machine. You started the movement, and I plan to get it to the next level.
Boy, I see a hungry guy right there. I got goosebumps.
I've not watched that back in a while.
Why was that promo so different from what you were doing in WWE?
That was 100% me and how I was feeling. You can see just the difference in my eyes, like laser focus intensity. Yourself in ECW, big ass chip on my shoulder, just ready to unleash fire from my mouth. Yeah, that's pretty cool watching that back. Like getting the goosebumps again of how I felt. And that's how I truly felt. I was like, I'm going to show you all like who I am, but most importantly, there's something going on in wrestling, and I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to be that guy. And as terrified as I was inside backstage, I was in the basement hiding. I was like, my goodness, I'm going to see these crazy things, but I got to believe them. And my girlfriend at the time was like, do you believe it? I was like, I do believe it. Like, I'm going to be that guy. When I get out there, I know it'll just come to me. And sure enough, when I got out there and heard the crowd and felt that adrenaline, it was pretty cool. And I talked for like 20 straight minutes.
The whole thing is a total bomb. I mean, for 20 minutes, you're just on fire. And it's like, oh, holy shit, who's this? And that's that guy who turned into, sometimes kind of when I thought you were talking in WWE, I kind of thought you were talking from here, from there. It's all diaphragm, and it's from your guts, and it's from your heart. And it's like heartfelt, no pun intended. And it's like, okay, now I'm on to something. So you felt that energy. So I think it was like timing's everything, and the fact that you called your buddy the promoter, he didn't message you, didn't you figured you want to kind of wallow, do your thing. He said, "No, man, 3 weeks, I'm there." So you go down there, sense of urgency, and to me, it's like, okay, everybody, WWE just shit canned you. The other people that are calling you just want to ride you for what you are, but that's going to diminish. You know that. And you want to go somewhere where you can kick it and knock one out of the park. And I think that's what you did. And I think from then on, because y'all would set, the Scotland wrestling scene on fire, UK wrestling scene on fire, and you start selling out places that have never been sold out and doing things that have never been done. Tell me about that grind.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
It's a climb back to the top.
Yeah, I told myself I'm going to give it absolutely everything, and it was wild. I was traveling back and forth from America to the UK at least every 3 weeks. I made my WWE schedule look like child's play. I would jump to Australia on some weekends and come back just in time to make a show in America somewhere, to jump back to the UK to make a show there. I was nonstop every weekend. Social media was my tool to take everybody on this journey with me, and I took them across the world and really started getting everyone's attention. Different companies saw what I was doing. I was representing the companies as champion, and we want this guy to be the face of our brand. And I would speak to the promoters. If it worked for me, I would do it. If it didn't, I wouldn't. And at one point, I was champion of like ICW, Evolve in America, the Australian champion, the Danish champion, the German champion, like certain countries all across the world. And I believe I had 7 titles at some point. But as we progressed, and as the crowds responded to everything that I was doing, it wasn't me doing it myself. We were doing it as a team, and I helped lift them up at the same time they helped lift me up, and that was the coolest thing about it. Especially in Scotland, but all across the world, we did this cool thing together. And that period of 2014 to 2017, Independent Wrestler was like best it's been since the territory days. It's never been as healthy as it was during that period. And that was my goal. Like, okay, I'm going to be the guy right now. Like outside of WWE, you think independent wrestling, you think Drew Galloway.
And when you see those crowds and when you get that kind of reaction, I mean, obviously you're feeding off that because that's what we're in the business for. And so then that reinvigorates you, and you are having fun again. Fun in the right way of being in the ring and entertaining and getting that positive response, which we all crave.
Yeah, that was great. Like everywhere I went, and as the confidence grew, I stopped worrying so much about planning what I was going to say and planning everything that I was going to do in the ring, and I was getting more comfortable. This is working for me. I'm going to keep doing that. If something feels right, I'm just going to do it. My gut tells me to do it, I'm going to do it. And I would go out there and cut these promos. And even when I went to like Impact Wrestling with TNA, it was important for me to be the same character there as I was everywhere else. I was like, I'm not going to be a different character here. I'm the same Drew if you see me in Scotland, if you see me in TNA, if you see me in Australia, if you see me in Germany, Denmark. It's the same guy everywhere I go, same music, same presentation, same attitude. And it was cool that I was getting out there just feeling it and just going from the heart every time.
So that being said, when you go on record, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram, you're talking about building a brand, your brand. What was the mission statement, and what is the Drew McIntyre brand?
So the mission statement for that period was, like it started off like I'm kind of going to show you what I'm all about, but it became, I'm going to show you what wrestling's all about. I want to elevate all these different companies, and that's what the cool thing about it was. When I was on Jericho's podcast, I said I'm going to go do my thing, and eventually I'll be back to WWE. That's the goal. WWE is where, I've always wanted to be. They're involved with Evolve and ICW. They're helping out build the wrestling scene now with me. They're getting involved in today of NXT UK, etc. I think it's time, to think about going back. But I had my mind in Japan, to be honest. I had a talk with a couple of guys there. And round about that time, Regal hit me up and said, just want to have a chat with you before you make any decisions about your future. Would you speak to Hunter on the phone real quick before you make your next move? And sure enough, spoke to Hunter for about 40 minutes. He'd been watching what I was doing, was kind of proud of what I'd achieved as a wrestler, but more importantly, how I'd grown as a man and where I was at. And, we both decided it was time to come back home. And in both our minds, it was NXT. I wouldn't have gone anywhere else.
How was that going back? I mean, to get that phone call, because you never want to call anybody asking, you want them to call you.
Yeah.
And, right?
That was a cool feeling, like the Hunter calling me and like Enrico setting it up. And just hearing what he said as well, I was like, oh, wow. Like the fact he took the time and, has been watching what I've been doing, like not just saying it, or Regal's not just told him Drew's been doing this, was clearly watching what I was doing and was happy and proud where I was at and wanted me to come back to his baby, NXT, and represent it on the top level. That meant a lot to me. And I was coming back. I was sold within the first 5 minutes.
All right, you're going to go back to NXT. You've already talked to Hunter. Now, we're going to take you to a clip. Get your thoughts on this. Look at this guy.
Seth Rogen looking like in the background.
No one's really saying much. Well, this guy thinks he knows. It's Drew McIntyre.
You know who that is? The question is, what is Drew McIntyre doing a takeover tonight?
He has returned. Look at this. Take this in. That's a good feeling. They remembered, okay? Because 10 seconds before that clip, you're kind of sitting there like this.
Panic stations.
And no one said shit. And you didn't know if they knew who you were because so much had changed, the physical, the hair, everything. And it's like, when that feeling, you tell me what that feeling is like versus what that's our guy. What's the difference?
I was crapping myself. Like, I never actually thought about that moment all day. I found out that day, okay, we're going to bring you in tonight. You're going to be on TakeOver. I'm like, okay, this affects the Evolve show that's later on. I'm supposed to be on that. So we do some work, quickly change around stuff on the show to make sure I do business with Evolve and then run over to the arena here. Sure enough, get the wife on the way. She's waiting with a suit by the side of the Amway. She get the suit on. She's trying to spray tan my face, turning me orange. I'm like, just don't go too far with the spray tan. And I finally calm myself down. They're pulling me out of the room. I'm like, okay, here we go. It's not until I'm like walking there, I'm all serious, and they sit me down. I go, oh my God, what if they don't remember me? Oh my God, what if there's silence? Like, it's one thing, they can cheer, they can boo, but if there's indifference, it's the worst thing ever. And I'm just sitting there panicking the whole time. And it's only like 10 seconds I had that feeling because I was so busy all day until you hear the reaction, you see that genuine smile on my face of, oh, thank God they know who I am, they remember.
What did you think about the NXT scene? Were you familiar with it?
Oh, yeah. I watched everything during that period. When I was on the road sitting in airports, which was my entire life at that period, I was watching everything, keeping up to date, keep my finger on the pulse. I do to this day. And I was like, if I go back, I told Hunter straight up, it was his goal to put me in NXT, but I was like, I won't go to Raw, I won't go to SmackDown. I want to go to NXT. That's the audience that know what I'm all about. They're the ones that are the hardcore fans. They're watching independent wrestling. They know who Drew Galloway is, Drew McIntyre is these days. I can be a leader there. That's where I want to start out. I want to prove myself there. And Vince always appreciated that too. He knows that I chose, like, I'm going to NXT and I won't go anywhere else. That's no discussion. And most importantly, for me, kind of mentally growing as a performer, Shawn Michaels was there. And as soon as I was part of NXT, I went straight to Shawn and I went, so, like, what days you got class? I'm coming in to work out. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. It'd be cool. I was hoping we'd do something together. But, if you're willing to drive down, I went, yeah, Shawn Michaels, I'm willing to drive down and work with you. It's like a 4-hour round trip. I would drive a 24-hour round trip if we got some time to sit down and learn and pick your brain. And I would drive down like 2-3 times a week whenever he had class. And what happens in Shawn class stays in Shawn class.
Absolutely. A little clip here from NXT, you versus Bobby Roode becoming the NXT champion. It's almost strange seeing a crowd right now, right? Nice. I like that headbutt you do there, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, the Claymore. Nice little crossface there, just a little insurance policy.
Oh yeah, I always pop the hips. That's the thing Norman Smiley told me. Like, I did it instinctively when I cover, I pop the hips. Sometimes it helps when people give you advice, not just to give you the negative stuff you can be working on, but point out the positives you don't realize you're doing. And Norman would always tell me, when you pop your hips, that's how you do it, that's how you pin someone. I didn't realize I was doing it. I just do it naturally, but now I know. I apply it every time, throw in a crossface where I can.
What are you thinking here, man?
I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is
Back
how
on track, right?
Yeah, this is the vision I had in my head. Okay, we're going back to WWE, first stop, we'll get these plans, NXT, and I'm going to become NXT champion, and everything's going exactly to plan.
After seeing that Claymore on Bobby Roode, how was the Claymore created or invented, or how was it brought to you?
Oh, it was brought to me because of 3MB. It's the greatest thing that 3MB ever gave me.
Thank God.
It was the Claymore. If you remember the beginning of 3MB, we had the super tight leather pants that the office made, because I certainly didn't have them commissioned. And I'm running around in those 80s tight rock and roll pants, and I was running to give a boot in the first match that I had in those leather pants. And as I was running, raising my leg for the boot, I realized, oh, these things are going to split in the crotch. So as I was thinking it's going to split, you have to kick up your other leg, Drew. So I kick up the other leg, involve an international incident. I assume I was wearing underwear, but just in case, I might not have been. I'm Scottish, I don't remember. Nonetheless, I don't want my crotch to split. So I kicked up the other leg, knocked out my opponent, and knocked myself out at the same time. Like, I remember getting up, doing an arm wringer after I did the maneuver, let the arm go, just walked across the ring, tagged out, fell to the floor because I'd knocked myself silly. Got to the back and someone pulled me aside and said, if you can figure out how to do that move without killing yourself, you've got something cool there. And I worked on it, and then I started using it as part of 3MB, just as my big maneuver that I would use, but it was created because of those tight leather pants.
That is unbelievable. Michael P.S. Hayes showed me the Stone Cold Stunner in Fayetteville, North Carolina at a TV tape, and he said, "Hey, kid, you got a second? Come here." I said, "Well, hell yeah, it's Michael P.S. Hayes and Fabulous Freebirds. Of course I got time." He showed me the Stunner. I started using it. Many times, if I would probably drinking too much beer, not going to the gym, but drinking too much beer, my shorts would get too tight to kick my leg up high enough. So I don't know how many times, because Vince was one of my key guys, I'd kick him in the balls so many times because my shorts were too tight. It wasn't that I couldn't kick up high, it was my shorts were too tight to kick that high. So I kicked him in the nuts I don't know how many times. And it's something that we still laugh about. Get called back to the main roster on Raw in 2018. Okay, so Vince named you the chosen one way back in the day. Now, after all this time has gone by, you're back. Was there ever a conversation, or was there like a come to Jesus meeting with him because you let him down, or if I dare say failed him or yourself, and you were fired, if I can use that?
Yep.
Because it wasn't a success. But now here you are back, and he wants to put the rocket booster on you. Was there a conversation of, hey, here's what's up? Because he doesn't give a whole lot of people a second chance. This is a great picture. But what was the return? Just tell me about the return. Or was there nothing said?
No, there's nothing said before I actually hit the ring. The first time with Dolph, I was underneath the ring. I came out, same feeling under the ring. Oh, God, I hope they know what I'm all about. I came out, I took out Titus O'Neil and Apollo and sided with Dolph, and they started a McIntyre chant. I was like, oh, thank God they know. They remember. This is cool. I got backstage to Gorilla, gave Vince a hug, and he told me, welcome home. And then it was later on we started, having conversations, and it was very much about the present during that period. It wasn't until later on we started kind of talking about the past and reminiscing. But as far as I was concerned, and as far as he was concerned at this stage when I first returned, it was about what happens from here forward, not going backwards.
Right. All right, let's fast forward a little bit. It's 2020. This is Drew's year. This is the Royal Rumble. I thought this is one of the best Royal Rumbles I've seen in quite some time. And, Brock had a featured role. Let's go to that clip. This is kind of what set your whole year up. Looked like a star coming out, man on a mission, hell bent.
McIntyre now. Locked eyes with Brock Lesnar.
There's some great verbiage here. We can't hear it on TV, but there's great verbiage here by you. You're one of the few guys that makes Brock look not as big as he is.
Yeah, he's a big man. It's funny, when I was outside the company, when I was working out, when I really got serious, I used wrestling Brock at WrestleMania as motivation. I was like, I need to get as big as him. Here it comes.
Bam! Oh, what a sweet bump by Brock.
He's unbelievable.
Road Warrior pop. That's what we always say. Blew the roof off place. Here you go. Taking a nice Claymore.
Yeah, that.
See, and watch this throw out here. Roman, fellow top guy right now, but that by the seat of the pants, by the shirt, that's the old shit can out. I mean, that's with authority.
Oh, yeah.
But that was again, a part of your blueprint as far as, hey, if I'm going to be out there with this guy, I need to talk as well as this guy. If I'm going to be against Brock, I need to look as good as Brock, or on the same level.
Yep.
So you've always used that as a motivational tool.
Yeah. Like, especially, when after the neck break, when I started getting more serious with my training, my diet, where do I need to improve, analyzing myself more. And I was like, what's the biggest match I could do? Who's the biggest draw? The attraction? Brock Lesnar. Okay, I need to be as big as Brock. I need that moment when I go eye to eye with him. People go, oh my goodness, Drew can compete with this guy. Okay, I need to get maybe more aggressive in the ring. My in-ring game's good, but we can still improve. But the biggest thing of all, he's got Paul Heyman. one of the best talkers ever. I need to be able to keep up with Paul Heyman. I got to keep working on my verbal skills. I got to be quick on my feet. That's why I like doing like the ad-lib promos, getting out there. I'm ready for anything. There's nothing you can hit me with that I don't have a comeback for. Like going in and talking trash with Brock there, that's not planned. That's just how I feel in the moment. And then Paul's the absolute master. I need to be ready to go toe-to-toe with Paul Heyman. So those things motivated me, just that image in my head. And I remember, like after the Royal Rumble, I challenged Brock the next night. Went backstage, Ricochet said to me, "That's pretty cool." Someone I'd been on the independents with, kind of been around for a few years, and I looked around, I saw the graphic, WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar for the title, and I had to sit down. I was like, man, this is what I've envisioned in my head like 4 years ago. This is crazy.
The interesting thing about this match is this is in front of a sellout crowd, and this sets you up for the
40,000.
biggest match of your life in WrestleMania 36 in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium against Brock Lesnar. But COVID hits.
It did. I was in the UK, and then I got pulled out of the UK.
How'd
I
that
was
go
filming a
down for you?
commercial. Well, I was there for a few days, and I'd done my media in London. Flew there after a Raw taping. I was going to Scotland. We're filming a commercial for the TV partner BT Sport over there. I was going to go to Glasgow. I was going to see my family. They had a surprise party for me. We were going to film the whole thing, make a big production of it. So I get to Scotland. I go to bed. I wake up at like 4 or something. I see my phone blowing up. Like, "We're pulling you out right now." I'm like, what? What do you mean you're pulling me out right now? I'm filming a commercial. No, you're not. You have to leave at 1 o'clock now. I called the WWE rep who's on camp, and I said, "Wake everyone's ass up. We're doing this commercial right now." It's like, "But Drew, there's no lights." I don't give a damn. We're doing it right now. We're filming this thing, and then I'm getting pulled out, I guess. So she goes around, wakes everybody up. All the production's ready to go at like 5 a.m., and I make sure we get that thing filmed. It turned out friggin' awesome. I mean,
It did. That was you behind it?
no, I was waking everyone's ass up. I was like, "We're getting this done." Like,
That's
everyone wake your
awesome.
asses up, because I know this is going to look awesome visually. It's going to help me massively, and it's going to be something different for the fans.
That was a great spot. I didn't know that you were behind it. Here we are, the stare down.
If you could read my mind right now, I'm literally thinking, if you try any funny business, Brock, I'll fuck you up. Like, I've heard you say stuff like that as well about Tyson. Like, man, I'll mess you up, Tyson. Like, the things that go through your head when
Yeah.
you're in the moment, you're in the character. Like, in my mind, Drew McIntyre could kick Brock Lesnar's ass in that moment in real life.
So you just got finished working in front of a sellout crowd. A couple of months later, COVID hits. Here we go. You can pull out, and you're here. Everybody always talks about this is your WrestleMania moment. Okay, so there ain't nobody there. How was it for you?
By that time, I accepted what it was. And getting pulled out of the UK, the week afterwards, I was more angry than I've ever been, like so down and frustrated. And I can't believe after 19 years, things finally come together. I'm being myself on TV, essentially. My real character's coming out, and fans are responding positively to my real personality, which led to the Royal Rumble win. I'm on a different level. I'm getting the biggest reactions on the house shows. I'm in a main event WrestleMania, 90,000 people. It's come full circle. It's in Tampa, where it all began. My American hometown, where I live, 20 minutes from my doorstep. And there's no one going to be there. It's going to be the PC instead. So I was really upset for a while. And as I watched the media and I started to understand how big this COVID situation was, how this pandemic was affecting everybody, and people were actually losing their lives, and all the sports had stopped. There was no escape. We were pushing ahead with WrestleMania. And I was doing the interviews and I was talking about it, and I was understanding where people were at, especially my friends in Scotland, full lockdown, my friends in America were like, "Man, this is going to suck, and we're struggling kind of mentally here." And I was like, "All right, Drew, take a step back. I know what you want. I know what you expected, but let's, be grown up about this. What are y'all doing right now? You're giving the world an escape from the worst situation of modern times. You're in the main event. You've got this feel-good story. They've told your real story. You're against the big bad guy. They want to see you win. They want to see you beat Brock Lesnar, become the champion." And we say smiles and faces thing, but I knew that's really going to make some people freaking happy. And if my story can make people happy during this time, come on, Drew, this is a pretty cool freaking thing. So that changed my perspective on things, and I was like, okay, let's take it for what it is. We went into the match. It was weird as hell that day. There's nobody there. It's a skeleton crew. I'm backstage telling myself, it's the main event of Mania, Drew. Get psyched up. You got to feel this. And I look over and I see Brock pacing around. Oh, there's Brock Lesnar. Get in the zone, please. You can hear a pin drop right now. This is crazy. My music hits, and as soon as I walked through the curtain, something came over me, and I was just in the zone 100%. When I saw Brock come out, he was there as well. He was game face on. We're in the ring. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling this right now. There's nobody here, but I'm in the moment. I know more people are watching WrestleMania than have perhaps ever watched it. They're interacting more socially than they've ever interacted before. Like, I was more in the zone than I've ever been. I could tell Brock was in the zone. I'm looking at him. I'm literally thinking, you try any funny business, try and pull a fast one, I'll mess you up. And we have the match, kicking out of F5s on one, kicking out multiple F5s. Heyman, this master storyteller with his face on the outside, both of them together, just creating this new superstar throughout this match.
All right, you want to do this? And now Lesnar going for a fourth. McIntyre able to get off the shoulders and a Claymore.
And this was not a finesse match. I mean, this was two big-ass dudes, high impact, boom, boom, boom. Lots of F5s, Claymores.
I got brought up a surprise when he tried to German me that first time. The ropes were too close, and I grabbed them. I was like, hey, brother, you ain't going to German me if those ropes are close. You're going to work for it.
Watch me. Watch me. Claymore. A fourth Claymore. Drew McIntyre fulfills his destiny.
Goddamn, the whole crowd's supposed to be erupting right now, okay?
Like, imagine if there's a
And it
crowd
would've
there
been.
on that F5 one kick out, they'd have lost their minds. But still, like, that time I'd accepted the situation. No one will forget the WrestleMania when the world stood still. And I'll get my second moment in front of a crowd, I know that. But this meant the world to me. Like I say, this is almost like the private moment. Every montage is going through my head right now of my entire career and the ups and downs. Like, thinking about the family and the wife's sacrifices. Like, not just my sacrifices, their sacrifices more than anything. Like, sticking by me during the good times and bad times to get me there, and never being home in Scotland, missing weddings, birthdays, deaths, like missing everything for this reason, to be the guy.
That's great. That was the right call right there to break the fourth wall.
I assumed it'd be edited. They'll take that out, but I don't care. This is what feels right. I want to say thank you to everybody. It's weird because 90,000 people, same as the Rumble, the adrenaline would have been going. I'd have lost my mind, holding it up, jumped in the crowd, whatever. It was silence. 1, 2, 3, silence. You've done it. You've got your title. And you know yourself, every time you've had a significant moment, and the first time you won the title, off Shawn probably, the adrenaline's flying. You don't get to calm down till you're in the hotel room by yourself later that night, and that's when you're alone and you have that private moment, and you're like, I did it. I can't believe I did it. This is all the hard work. I believed in myself. The company believes in me. The fans have believed in me. You have that private moment in the hotel room. That's how I felt in that moment. It was so silent that everyone got a kind of sneak peek of that private moment where you're just taking it all in. There's no noise. The adrenaline's high, but not through the roof. You're just like, oh my God, I did it. And everyone got to see that. And I clocked the floor camera. And obviously we're not supposed to break the fourth wall, but yeah, I just couldn't help myself. I assumed this would be edited later, but I made my way to that floor camera, and I just wanted to tell everyone how I felt. And I wanted to say thank you for choosing me. You know, that's the fans that got behind me and rallied behind me, is because it's the reason I got these opportunities to do what I did and get to the main event and win the title. And, you know, it felt pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, but I think it was the right call to break the fourth wall here, because I was in the PC a few weeks before, you know, WrestleMania happened in front of an empty crowd, and it was so weird for me. And I thought you guys did a really good job of the task at hand. But I think it was the right call to break the fourth wall.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. Like I say, if it
Dude,
feels
it's all
right,
about a connection with the people.
Yeah,
and if you
gut-wise,
felt
it
that
felt
strongly
right.
about it.
Yeah, I didn't choose to do it prior. I felt it in the moment, and I always go with my gut these days, whether someone tells me to do it or not. I'll say sorry if they didn't like it afterwards.
How important was it for you to work with Randy, just as far as helping you become, you know, the guy that you are? Or I feel like you guys match up well. You know, a similar look. You're a bigger guy than him, but he's so polished, good-looking dude, so athletic. He can do it all, and y'all just seem to have a good chemistry.
Yeah, that I knew it was coming. I was hoping it was coming anyway, but I was like, when I get with Randy, that's where I'm going to really show the world what I can do, and at the same time, I'm going to learn so much, and I can't wait for it to happen. And I talked about it after I won the title. I said, you know, if I'm the Batman, I never wanted to be Superman. The people can't relate to Superman. He's an alien. He's made of steel. He's invincible. He's on top all the time. The Batman's got flaws, and they've seen my story. They know I'm a flawed person. I think that's important to make me relatable. I'll always be the Batman, but I need my Joker, and Randy Orton's my Joker. And he was operating at such a high level, always, his entire career. But during that period, especially during the Edge feud, he took it to another level. And Randy Orton in general was great. After that Edge feud, I was like, my goodness, that's the test right there. When I keep up with Randy on the mic, when I keep up with Randy in the ring, I'll show everyone what I'm truly made of, or I don't deserve to be champion right now.
Right.
And at the same time, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn the intricacies, the nuances, taking those moments that Randy's the master of. You see this,
Right.
every Randy Orton match constantly, you'll see his emotion. He emotes so well and he tells the story so well, but at the same time, painting an amazing picture, be it a promo or a match, and working with him, like we were able to do some really cool stuff together. And I fed off of him and I learned so much from him. And it cemented me as a top tier superstar, I believe, this feud.
How about 10 years ago? I remember you walking past me as I sat in catering. My world was crumbling around me. Professionally, personally, you knew that. I was far away from home. My mother was sick, and I was self-destructing, and a kind word from somebody like Randy Orton might have changed my life. But you didn't do a damn thing. I don't see a leader standing before me. I don't see somebody the boys in the back respect. I see a selfish prick.
See, I love that promo. You're talking about a real life situation. You were down. He could have brought you up, but he didn't. That brought me in because here's a guy who could have picked you up, but he didn't. And now it's personal.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, that particular promo I saw is very important to me. Like a lot of that stuff was obviously based in truth. Not necessarily Randy was the one in the situation. There was people in that situation. I perhaps put him there, but I knew of all the stories of Randy. I was around Randy at the time, and he's owned up to how he was back then. And I started inserting my own truths and truths that, as far as people on the internet were aware and people on the roster were aware, and I started bringing that all into television in a way that had never really been put on television before. And I was feeling the moment, like as much as you can feel anything. I got lost in the moment. I actually forgot the thing I was supposed to say because I got so into it. I was feeling it so much. And when Randy cut his promo before I responded and called him a prick, which was fun to say on television, I was listening to him, and he's so good. And he's got Ric Flair standing by his side, and that's the image I've got in front of me. And I'm the one standing there, WWE champion. I knew in my head, this is it. This is the time to show them what you're really made of, because this is Randy on fire with Ric Flair by his side. And your response right now is going to show everybody you belong in this spot. And that was going through my head consciously as he was talking. Then I unleashed hell verbally, and the response was awesome. And Randy really brought me up like so much during that period.
And see, and that's when, a top guy has done something and a top guy recognizes it and capitalizes, and everybody rises.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like that was, his goal. It's funny, like where he is now, where he used to be. Like Randy as a leader now, he hates getting told he's a leader. I said it in front of Vince.
Why does everybody hate that label?
No idea. Like Randy in particular, it's weird. Like I don't think he realizes he's Randy Orton. People say all the time. I hear Edge say all the time he doesn't realize how good he is and all the experience he's had. And I tell him all the time, I was like, Randy, you've worked with all these guys we never got to work with. You've got this knowledge. And like for some reason, you don't seem so confident in yourself sometimes, but you are that good that you're bringing me up. You bring everyone up around you. You're in that leadership role now. You need to embrace it. I even told Vince
but in fact, you're a leader.
Sorry. Oh yeah, and I accept it. I embrace it.
That leadership role?
No, I accept it. I embrace it. I don't impose my will on anybody. I speak my opinions so truthfully during interviews and with you here today, how I feel. If someone wants advice, then come to me and ask advice, and I'll give you my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just my personal opinion. Unless you're directly negatively affecting the product or a company, then you'll know because I'll quickly appear by your side and give you a smack. But yeah, I see myself as a leader and leading by example, especially during these times. I was the first one breaking the fourth wall. People were going out cutting promos to imaginary people. And I was like, come on, like not saying to everyone directly, but just letting them know things are changed now. We're going to throw things against the wall. Not all of it's going to stick. And I'll lead by example. All rolls from downhill. I was walking out going, there's commentators there. That's the only people I can talk to. Hi guys, how you doing? They're like, oh, hey. I'd jump up, slide up the ramp and just chat with them, go beside them, have a chat. Wait, there's no one else to interact with. I'd talk to the cameraman, out my way, buddy, and shake them by the hips and stuff and look down the camera. I was like, I don't know what the answers are because there are no answers. It's never happened. I'm going to have fun. Just go with it. Makes it more enjoyable for the people at home because you're not trying to just play to imaginary people or play wrestler. Just be in the moment, feel it for what it is and try and see what works. Because in the end, this is uncharted waters. And it's been a fun old journey to get us into the Thunderdome where things feel a lot more normal.
Yeah, and that's an interesting mindset to take because I mean that was one of the things. Now this was with people, but if there was ever anything, like where there's Taker's symbol on the third rope, kind of teetering there, I got on and surfed. I would take advantage of anything prop-wise that was there. So basically, in essence, in a world of COVID, with nothing being there, You're making the most of everything and trying to imagine what you can do with the situation at hand. I applaud that because that's what it's about. Experimenting and having the balls to go do something and make something happen that wouldn't be there without some effort or forethought or the wherewithal to attempt.
Thank you. I was trying everything. I was like, just any little thing that would come to mind. I'd ask my wife. She's not a big wrestling fan, or not a wrestling fan at all. That's why I love her opinion, because I need those outside eyes, because it's all I know. I would say to give me some stuff to say what's relatable right now. Tiger King was big at the time. I dare you to say, "Hail, you cool cats and kittens," down the camera. I make my entrance look right into the camera.
There we are. Hail, you cool cats and kittens.
Because I know I'm in Seg 1. That's going to become a little meme or whatever it's called. It's going to go around the internet. People are going to, what the heck's going on in the wrestling right now? And hopefully change the channel to see what's going on. Yeah. Just anything I could try that was just outside the box. And still to this day I do, but especially during that period when there was nobody there.
Interesting thought that you're in Seg 1 thinking about the rest of the show, trying to draw eyes just by a social media response. Smart.
Thank you. Just anything, I'm outside the box, man. Like something I learned from Fit, especially, someone who's always thought outside the box. So at this level now, I'm really thinking outside the box and talk to every different department. I'm on their ass every week. If I've got a free day, I'm like, why have I got a free day? What can I be doing to better myself or help the company or drive us forward? So in all the statistics, you know, we're in 800 million homes, 180 countries, 20 different languages, over 1 billion with a B social media followers. It's not just guys who watch the show. 40% audience is female. Like stuff like that I can just rattle off the top of my head because I want to be put in front of non-wrestling fans and educate them what our product's all about, and not just I'm Drew and I wrestle. We're not just big meatheads. We're intelligent, we're educated, and it's for the whole family, from the youngest kid to the oldest adult.
Dude, the more you learn about behind the scenes, I believe that you can put that, what you've learned behind the scenes, into the ring.
100%. And it's build those relationships is so essential. That everyone wants to help you. They're the ones that make us look like superstars. The reason Vince doesn't use the word wrestler, and I get it now, like it's everyone around us that makes us larger than life, makes us superstars. And they're always going to make you look good, but just building those relationships with, like you say, the cameramen, etc. And they give you little tidbits. Hey, it would help me if you did this. So they've got that passion, and you need that passion. Like, so, like, you're going to be tested not just physically, but especially mentally.
Dude,
if you don't have that passion, you're going to crack.
Well, I mean, you know, to me, it's a business founded on passion, emotion, love, hate. It's all. To me, it's emotional.
It's the most dysfunctional relationship I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, and the things it can lead to.
Oh yeah.
We talked earlier about promos, the one you cut at ICW back in the day, and as you would develop them and turn into you. Yeah. Drew McIntyre turned up a little bit, not some character.
Yeah. So it's like I had a second puberty, I always joke, because my voice used to be like this for some reason.
But, you know, these
like
days...
my pulse dropped for a second time.
But these days, the intensity, the focus, the bass, the controlled aggression, your feelers are right there where you need to be. This is about a 40-second promo where I think it really comes full circle, who and what you are.
I've defended this title with the honor and respect that it deserves. This Sunday, there'll be no honor. There'll be no respect because you do not deserve any. Experience counts. It counts for a lot, but so does life experience. And I have been through more hell than you can possibly imagine. I will go through hell, and I will put you through hell to remain WWE champion. And one of the crew mentioned to me, "Hey, Drew, why are you all in black? You look like you're going to a funeral or something." Maybe I am.
Thank you, Johnny Cash.
Man, what I liked about that promo, you've got the belt on your shoulder. Sometimes the belt makes a person, sometimes the person makes the belt, sometimes it's a little bit of both. But with you standing there with that championship belt on your shoulder and you're talking about your opponent, honor and respect, you're making the belt. You're setting the stakes for that match, and that's what I felt. But with Randy Orton, there is no honor and respect with you. So you're putting him over in a backhanded way to say, you know, just how, you know, unworthy of a character he is in the business of wrestling. So you're setting the stakes and just kind of throwing away, hey, somebody said maybe I'm dressed for a funeral. Maybe I am. Kind of throwing that away. Dude, you sold me on the match right there. I want to see that. You made me care about the title. You made me care about you. You made me care about your opponent and what he could do. That's not an easy task, but you seem to have mastered that.
Thank you. That's the ultimate compliment right there. That's what it's all about. You know, you elevate your opponent or who you've beaten. It's not hard to elevate someone like a Randy Orton. where he's so successful to begin with, but you want to build him up as much as possible while building yourself up. And most importantly to me is making the title mean something, and hearing that from yourself, that applying those lessons and what we should be getting in those promos, that means a lot.
We're telling stories, and sometimes people will go out there and belittle their opponent. Easy thing to do. Does it sell tickets? I don't think so. But when you tell a story that people care about, people can see the stakes, understand the two people involved, that's what we're about. So I think that was just a very short but a masterful promo, and that's the kind of stuff that you string together every single time you go out there. So to me, I mean, you're one of the best promos, if not the best promo in the business.
Oh, that means the world coming from someone like yourself.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And it is important to me that I make sure I elevate the title every single time. It was something that wasn't featured very often. When Brock had it, it was Brock Lesnar was a champion. It couldn't go any higher than the person that had it, but he was never there. And I was determined to, I say, like, use the words honor and respect, make sure everybody knew this is what it's all about. And in order to take this from me, you've got to be better than me. You've got to be more committed, man. You've got to be more passionate than me. And you ain't. I don't believe it, because I work like I'm second every single time. I think like I'm second every single time. And I'm always competing with myself, and the goal always is to elevate the title. In those promos, it's blown me away, those words. I really do.
Sometimes it's like, hey, man, the belt don't mean anything right now. Right now, the belt means something.
Thank you.
This one. And I can say the same thing for Roman's title. I think he's doing a damn good job of carrying that one, just from his presentation, his physical stature, stuff like that. But the way you represent this belt, it's as high as it can go. It means something.
Thank you.
You and Randy had great chemistry, and through, basically a series of matches, the second time you won the world title from him, I thought elevated you to another level. Would you agree?
Yes. Thank you, first of all. But man, that second one was really good. The first one, won the title, was unbelievable. But that match with Randy, the title hadn't changed hands on Raw for 5 years.
Is Drew McIntyre about to fall to the three most dangerous letters in all of sports entertainment?
We went out there and we felt it. We got added an extra segment, so that's like an extra 8 minutes of match time. And we went out there and we knew each other so well.
Drew McIntyre has taken back the WWE title.
Here's your winner, and the new WWE Champion, Drew.
Winning the title back there did feel different, because I won it the first time. I started figuring out how to be in that top level, worked with Randy to be comfortable at that top level, and winning it back. Okay, Drew's ready, he's the guy right there, and Randy kind of gave me that kind of seal of approval with a little pat to the butt there. It was pretty good. I didn't feel it at the time, but watching it back, I was like, man, that was pretty cool.
Do you feel you're better holding the championship belt or chasing the championship belt?
It's weird, because generally babyfaces, you want chasing the title, but I feel like, the title and I have a good relationship. We help each other out, and I think it's a good combination, which is weird, because I always would have said it would make more sense to be babyface, to be chasing the title, but I feel better with the title, and for some reason the fans, socially at least, that's what we've got to go offer right now, respond better to me with the title.
I agree 100%, because like you said, most babies or certain babies are better in the chase. Taker said he was better in chase, as did I. I like you with it, someone chasing you having to maintain and stand on top of that mountain to defend that title. So it's a match made in heaven. We'll see how it goes from here.
I like it. I'm going to tell Vince that when he tries to take it off me next time. Stone Cold said I'm better with the title.
Man, don't tell him I said shit.
That's awesome.
Second time is good or better than the first?
Oh, I think I mentioned it earlier. It feels exactly the same. It's the first time. If I win it 10 times in a row, I think it'll feel like the first time every time. That's how much it means to me. It is real to me. Being champion will never get old to me. It is the coolest feeling in the world. And to beat Randy Orton for the title. And a lot of people said, why did you lose it in the first place? I don't understand. And I said, I think it's important for my character to see how he deals with some adversity. I was running through everybody, including Randy Orton. He'd lost twice at that point. So I think it's important to see how Drew deals with things these days. Like, show some resolve, show some balls. Nothing's going to stop me. He knocked me down, and what did I do? I came back even harder. I started knocking Miz and Morrison out left and right, coming for Randy, kept telling everybody, I'm first in line. And I got asked the question, I think it was Raw Talk, do you think you're holding people back for that? I was like, no, they can challenge me. They can take me on in the ring. If they can outdo me in a promo, they deserve the shot. But right now, I'm the freaking guy, and I'm getting the title back.
Right.
So I was able to show some resolve and show what my character was all about, that I'll never give up and I'll never surrender.
I got a photo I want to put up on the screen. A photo, WrestleMania 35, a stare down between you and Roman Reigns. And then from you and Roman Reigns, Survivor Series 2020. Ever so slight, but a little difference. Maybe I'm making something out of nothing, but go back to the other graphic. Confident dude right there. Match. Okay, match. Back to the other graphic. Right there, I see two alphas. Both guys got championship belts. This was the match of the event.
Thank you.
What was the difference?
I know exactly who I am now. At that time, Mania 35, I was still finding myself. I'd generally been...
So I'm
No, you're 100% right.
Okay.
I can tell looking at it myself, and someone who's educated in wrestling as yourself, you can see it just looking at my eyes, and you know, but I still was finding myself. I didn't quite know who I was. I wasn't being the turned-up version of myself. And I was just big, angry Scotsman. They were still looking after me, but they didn't quite know what to do with me yet because I hadn't quite put the pieces together. And that's the difference. And that Mania 35 match, that was all for Roman, as it should have been. He was coming back from the illness. We had to make sure the world that Roman was back. It was all about him. Understood that. That was a business that night. But this period, I'd found myself. I'd been doing it a while, and I was so confident in my abilities that everything I was saying to Roman, that he's been on top for a long time, deserves to be. He is that workhorse. He gets it. He's phenomenal in every aspect. But I believe I should be the guy. And he feels that way. I feel that way. We're so competitive. And we get it at the same time. We help each other out. He helps me out behind the scenes, you know, to keep up in those levels because he wants to make sure everyone gets as high as we can. We want to pull each other up, and that's what it's all about these days. We want everyone to come up.
You worked the WrestleMania match with Brock, silence. You worked this match with Roman with the Thunderdome. Did that help?
Oh, yeah, massively. Just being back in an arena, just having that feeling of, okay, we've got the lights, the smoke, the special entrance, especially with the sword and the fire, everything you expect from WWE from a fan watching at home perspective, but also as a superstar, you're like, okay, this feels more at home. I feel more comfortable here, but the fans can't be there in person. We've got them virtually now. We can actually see them reacting, but we've got an atmosphere in the arena coming through the speakers. That makes the world of difference. And you can feel those moments when there's no fans there and you've been doing it so long, you kind of know the right thing to do, but it makes such a difference for these kind of moments. Like when we're just having the stare down, like Roman set that up. Like, it's not something you planned. Like, he come up, he stuck the title in my face. I was like, oh, screw you, stuck it in his face. And in my mind, I ain't moving. I'll stand here for 10 straight minutes until you back down. And he held it and held it and held it. And I was thinking, maybe it's a test. I don't care. I ain't backing up. So you're going to have to back up. It's going to be a really boring match. Yeah. So it was cool, those kind of moments. He's so good at that. He's good at everything, but those moments, Roman's a master of. Now it's, okay, wow, this is cool. This is a match we want to see. This is what it's all about right now. This feels like, you know, two guys that are really on the rise at the top of the business right now, which certainly wasn't the case at WrestleMania 35. You know, I planned to knock him off his pedestal. The character was this condescending, arrogant. I was allowed to say bastard on TV, which was fun. He can talk all the crap he wants. Heyman can talk all the crap he wants. He can attack me on social. I'll show you what I'm all about in the ring.
And I believe the Scottish Warrior is feeling it.
And I watched his eyes go from the confidence in the beginning and put him over. I was like, he should be confident. He's Roman freaking Reigns. He's beat everybody. He's the man. And it's his mind. He's the same old Drew. He's just going to beat me again. And I watch him throughout that match as those eyes turn from ultimate confidence to frustration to confusion. And then when I start kicking out after the spear through the wall, the spear in the ring, then he gets the fear and he understands this is not the same guy anymore.
Cover for the win. McIntyre kicks out again.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm not the same guy. I'm not like anybody you've ever faced before, but I want to make sure everyone knew he's the freaking guy, but I'm the freaking guy too. And they were so excited with the outcome. The fact I didn't quit, the fact Roman by the end was like, oh my God, this is not the same guy.
And look at Roman, though. Really has it cinched in now.
Come on, ref, get in there.
That's it. Yeah, McIntyre's passed out. McIntyre's out.
The story's already made. I've never beat him. I'm a different guy. He had to cheat in the end, choke me out. When we come back around, he knows what I'm all about, and it's going to be a cool story. And it's already just waiting to happen, and I just wanted to make sure I put it in everyone's head. When this comes back around, this is going to be big time.
Man, at the end of the day, it's always about the match. And then it's commentary on top of the match. But getting there, it's all the angles, the interaction, but it's the promos when, hey, here's what he said, here's what he said. And when everything's meshing and both guys are on the same page and working together, dude, that's what makes money. Yeah, you're going to end up with a match. But god dang, if you can narrate, vocalize, articulate, eloquate, and verbalize, and make people feel what you're feeling, that's what the business at the highest level is about.
Yep. I hope
You
everyone
check that box.
starts feeling that way and starts thinking about, okay, we've got X amount of minutes. Let's not think about how many moves we can squeeze into this match. How are we going to get my character over? What's the story of this situation? Like, how am I going to go over? My opponent go over? The story going to go over in this segment instead of doing a bunch of random crap that means nothing? And do that throughout the show. People get invested in each character, invested in each story, no matter what time you've got. By the time you've got like the final product, we're doing this. How are you going to go over? How am I going to go over? What they're going to remember? What's the story we're telling? If we start doing that from beginning to end, the product's going to elevate. And I hope people start thinking that way. And it's the way Roman certainly thinks. With Heyman by his side, it's freaking genius. Like, kind of.
Yeah, and you preach to the choir when you talk about, okay, the match is going to be this long. What can we do? Yeah. It doesn't mean just because the match is this long that you have to do a bunch of things.
No.
The things that matter. Well, you know what I've noticed about you? When you're in a hold, when someone has a position on you, you're fighting to get out of that hold. You're struggling. You're never resting. As a big guy, one of the biggest guys, if not the biggest guy on the roster, you sell your ass off. People feel when you're in pain, or they feel when you're in a struggle. As a dominant guy, and one of the biggest guys on the roster, sometimes that's hard to do. I had the same conversation with The Undertaker. Yeah, the match matters, promos matter, everything matters, but I like the way you function and work as a babyface in the ring. You seemingly could be invincible because of the body and the brutality and the aggression, but you use that to your advantage when you need it, but also you are vulnerable. Bottom line, I'll shut up.
No, thank you. That's
makes sense to you?
What I'm trying to convey every time I'm out there, it's important to be sympathetic. And, as a big babyface, as like you say, in times invincible babyface, we've got to let them in, got to, show some weakness at certain times. And as a babyface, you certainly got to sell. We don't have to just take one thing you're down. We'll do it the right way. I'll take myself out. You work a wheel or whatever it is. But it's cool that it's coming across exactly how I want. And you articulate it better than I ever could. And it's really cool hearing that. Thank you.
Yeah, but when I really started studying your work instead of just watching your work, I was like, okay, I see Fit Finlay, I see Dave Taylor, I see Regal. Well, just their nuances or how they might have explained something. I see Drew McIntyre, because when I think of your style, I see Drew McIntyre. I don't know who influenced you, because the way you work, you don't remind me of anybody but you.
That's the coolest compliment ever. As you know, you take from the best and then you start developing your own thing. And eventually you stop saying yes to everyone that gives you advice. You say thank you. And if it works, you apply it. If you don't, you discard it. And eventually you find your own thing. So that's, really cool.
McIntyre back to his feet. Roman Reigns. Spear! McIntyre! Turn it around! McIntyre! Turn it around! Nakamura! And Roman Reigns with nowhere to go! The submission locked in!
Nowhere to go at all!
Is Reigns gonna tap?
Dude, when I saw you guys do that in that match, I was like, hold on, I've never seen you go into a submission game, and I see that roll through off what would have been a spear, right?
Yeah, it's finished.
The roll through and ended up, what was that called?
Kimura.
Yeah, super nice. And when he goes over in the match, didn't hurt you none.
No.
Even if he'd taken a belt from you, that wouldn't have hurt you none. Yeah. But it was a nice finish. But when I saw you go through the submission, I was like, oh, that's impressive.
Cool, thank you. It's like the kind of like little things with trying to apply to be different, like things Roman wouldn't expect. Like I studied my opponents. You see the first match with Randy, he couldn't get the RKO. He tried constantly. I counter, and I beat him with a backslide. The best wrestler ever after the Edge match,
right.
I beat with a wrestling maneuver. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what I'm gonna do with Roman? I study the game. I'm a student of the game. I've studied his finish. I'm going to find ways out of it. Roman's going to realize as the match goes on, oh my goodness, he's different mentally, he's different physically, and he's got me scouted, oh my God, like he did for Randy. So next time I better prepare just as much. So that's kind of like my mindset right now is every opponent, I've come in there, I've studied with them. And if you're going out with Drew McIntyre, you expect your shit to be countered because he's done his homework.
That's interesting.
It's a fun old game, as you know. Trying to figure it out every week. You learn something different. You try something new. The boss tells you something. You have an epiphany and go, "Ah, man, that was great." Like that sword entrance. Like he had like a different vision for it, where I was going to come down with my back and stuff, and get in the ring with it in my back and raise it. And I saw the giant sword. It was his sword from his house. I think Hunter and Stephanie got it for him. I was walking by the ring with it, and Hunter went, "Didn't I buy that for Vince?" I went, "Yes, you did." Carried on walking with it, and I walked around with it in my back, and I went, "This sucks. This is not going to work." Like for the beginning, I was like, "This might be a bit over the top. This might be a bit too much." It's visually impressive. But I carry that thing in my back. I'm going to hit the stairs on the way in the ropes. I'm going to look a dumbass. I'm not going to look a badass. And he took the sword, just me and him, swung it around his office, held it up, spun it around, did this. Went, okay, why don't we do this? I went, that's great. Just such a genius. He just stands there, waved a sword around in his office and came up with what we did for the entrance, where I walk out, spin it, stick it in the ground, the fire goes up. Within 1 minute, he created that based off my concerns.
Dude, and that was a killer picture too.
Oh yeah, it was cool. Yeah, he said, do I have a sword? And I don't have a sword, sir. I have a sword. And of course you have a sword. I assume you have a bunch of medieval weapons at your house, one of those balls with the spikes, the mace. He went, I think I do in the dungeon. Of course you do. You assume you have every medieval weapon at your house. It's like, give me my sword. Trey needs a sword. That was pretty funny.
You're currently WWE champion. You head into 2021 with a lot of momentum. What are you hoping for in the next year?
Fans.
Amen.
Like I've had a lot of big moments that would have been really cool and really helped me a lot if we had fans there. I'm proud of everything we've done, giving everyone escape during the most difficult times of COVID. I'm proud that I was the representative and the one carrying the load during that time. I'm proud of what we've done in the Thunderdome. But I can't wait till we get fans back in person, get back on tour, and just feel that, like, the fans in the building. I always say, like, and it's true, they're a #1 superstar. They create the atmosphere. They can change the, you know, a promo for how it's going to be when you're out there. They can change the complexion of a match when you're out there. And we're doing what we feel is right now to keep them entertained, but you don't know for sure until they're back in the building. It's going to make such a difference to the product when we get those fans back in the building for us as superstars.
You seem like a very goal-oriented person. What goals do you have left to attain?
Unlimited. My biggest one is the UK pay-per-view. Like a big one. Since SummerSlam 92, we've had Rebellion and you know, the smaller kind of special UK pay-per-views, but I want one of the big four there. I'd love a Royal Rumble in the UK. I think the UK fans deserve it. I know, like everyone talks about it, we love being there. It's so crazy, wild, the fans are passionate, and I know it would sell out. If it takes a marquee match like myself and Fury doing something, that's fine with me as long as it happens, and it's gonna be really cool. We have the network now, we do super shows in all these different countries, like Australia now. There's no reason, as far as I'm concerned, not to do it. I think it is gonna happen, and I'm gonna push until it does happen.
Right now, as we speak, you're 35 years old, right? 19 years in the business. God dang, it's a lot of learning. You're in your physical prime, especially for sports entertainment. This is when I figure if you've got it, you've putting it together by this time, and you've got loads of experience from everything you've been through. So with that being said, what does the future hold for Drew McIntyre?
Future holds as long as I can keep competing. I'm in WWE, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be on top of the card, I'm gonna represent as champion. And I look forward to the fans getting back, taking things on tour and doing some new cool things. I'm excited for the future. If I can wrestle till I'm 50 years old, I'll be a happy man. I'm not one of these guys who says, like, one of these days I'll be an actor and whatever. I'm looking for something outside of wrestling. I was born to be a wrestler. I am a wrestler. I'm going to do it as long as I possibly can. It's as simple as that.
Man, it's been fun talking to you. And, you know, having this championship belt on the table, you are the guy right now. And when Vince chose you as the chosen one way back in the day, he was right. It took many years for that to happen, for it to manifest. But I think he saw something in you, which we are now seeing today. So nothing but the best to you. I'm proud of you, and you're obviously doing great things. And I think Vince was right when he picked you as being that guy.
Thanks, Steve. I really don't have the words for it. It means the world. Like, coming from yourself, everything you've said today. In the end, I'm just a kid from Scotland living his dream, is very passionate about something. I know you are too, so thank you.
Hey, man, hard work pays off. You paid your dues, and you're still paying them, and you still pay attention to every single thing within the business that goes on, and that's why you're doing what you're doing. I wish you nothing but the best, continued success, and probably the best is yet to come. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished. And my name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is Drew McIntyre, WWE Champ. This has been the Broken Skull Sessions. We'll catch you down the road, and that's the bottom line, because I said so.